Hi, everybody. It's Craig and Arun back with your Week 15 Sunday slate of games here in the NFL. Hope everybody's had a good NFL season. Let's continue to turn it up. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Put in the comments what you like for today. How about we do a contest again this week? Pick the Sunday night football game. So we got the Cowboys and the Vikings. Pick who's going to win and the total number of points together. So Vikings and Cowboys. If you think the Cowboys are going to win 30-20, you go Cowboys 50. As long as you don't go over, whoever comes closest will win a week pass of your sport of choosing from one of us. So make sure you get in on it. And don't forget, if you want in on our best plays, very simple, get our football pass. Get 2 weeks, not 2 weeks, 2 cappers for 1 week, just $99, docsports.com/Craig Arun, only way to get that. And then don't forget about our link here. The link is in the description to get in our YouTube premium products. This is the Edge. This is where you get all the extra plays that doesn't make our card. So click the link in to get in. $49.99 a month gets you all 3 levels. Let's get right to it, though. I know what you're here for, the NFL picks. And we've got the first game. I see you're going to cover the first one for us. Cleveland Browns at Chicago Bears. Bears coming off pretty tough loss at Green Bay when they had a chance to win that. Bears minus 7.5, total 40. What do you like here?
I thought Cleveland losing 29-31 against Tennessee was a tough loss. That was a contest where they were favored by 3 points, and it just didn't transpire. Ward didn't have a great game, but he was quite funny after in the post-game press conference. But 14 for 28, 117 yards, whereas Shador went 23 for 44 for 364. But the difference, of course, Cleveland can't run the ball. They're 61 yards, and Tennessee can run the ball. They had 184 yards rushing, and that was the difference. Chicago comes in after a tough loss to Green Bay, 21-28. That was a contest where they were coming off that big win against the Eagles, and of course, that loss doesn't look so good now. The Chargers beat them, but this was a team that had last time they lost to the Ravens. They lost, they beat the Bengals 47-42. But I like the Browns here off of a loss. I think they'll be able to rush the ball a little bit better. I think they're actually playing quite well in the sense that I think they should have beaten Tennessee. To be honest with you, they've been pretty competitive in the last several games. I think it's a lot of points here too. So I'm going to take the plus 7.5, Craig. I know it seems a little crazy to back the Browns on anything, but I think they're kind of rallying behind Shador a little bit, and they've certainly been competitive. It kind of reminds me of a poor man's Jameis Winston, if you will. And Shador will remain the starting quarterback for the rest of the season, according to all reports. Craig, Baltimore minus 2.5 favorite against the Bengals. Baltimore is 6-7, trying to fight for that playoff spot. The Bengals are 4-9. Baltimore off back-to-back losses after having won 5 straight. They lost to the Steelers and to the Bengals. These very Bengals just beat Baltimore 2 weeks ago, but they come off a tight loss against the Bills, 34-39. But they have covered 3 in a row coming in. Who do you like?
Yeah, funny how perception is that the Ravens are a good team still. And it's like they're not a good team. They're finding ways to win, including that game last week against the Steelers, the week before against my Bengals. And the Bengals, I think, are playing better football. They're actually defense. They gave up a lot of points last week, but it was really Joe Burrow threw 2 interceptions that really kind of cost them that game. I think Burrow will have a better game. And remember, they really should have been more lopsided. They kicked 6 field goals against Baltimore last time. I like the over. I like the Bengals. Probably over is a slightly better play, but I like both of them in this one. Now, next game, Chargers at the Chiefs, and the Chiefs, no more wiggle room. I don't even know if they win out, if they'll get in, but they have to win out. Kansas City's favored by 4.5, total 42. Chargers coming off nice OT win in overtime. I don't know how they did it. Well, I know how they did it. They caused a bunch of turnovers. Can they do it again here on the road this week?
Well, the Chargers, to their credit, have won 5 of their last 6. They beat Minnesota, Tennessee, Pittsburgh, lost the Jags, and beat the Raiders and the Eagles. They managed to cover that game. Kansas City, of course, has lost back-to-back games to Houston and to Dallas. I really don't think the Chargers are that good of a team. I could be in the minority here. I think they've beaten a bunch of sub-500 teams. I mean, who have they beaten that's over 500 outside of the Eagles? Vegas, no. Jaguars, they lost to. Steelers, they beat. Titans under 500, Minnesota under 500, Colts under 500, they lost to them, and Dolphins under 500, Washington, and the Giants. So when you take a look at Kansas City, I don't think the Chiefs aren't going to the playoffs. However, after scoring 10 points in their last game, this is a sense of pride. Arrowhead will still be rocking. They're going to be super ticked up. I don't think they lose 3 in a row at all. And last time the Chargers actually beat them 27-21. It's a simple game for me. I'm going to back the Chiefs here. I still don't think they get into the playoffs, but I don't think it matters. I think per this game, it just goes game by game. I think Kansas City will be motivated to win, and I'm going to take Kansas City here.
Don't forget to like and subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on all the great content we have here at Doc Sports.
All right, Craig, you get the Washington here. Commanders plus 2.5 point dog against the Giants. And guess who's favored? The Giants. The Giants are 2-11. Washington, of course, comes off an incredible game against Minnesota where they did not score 1 point, losing 0-31. And they have now lost, 8 in a row. And of course, you have coaches that keep getting fired, like Dan Quinn, they keep getting rehired, and then the same results happen. And people are like, what happened? I didn't see this coming. Well, yeah, you did. You just got to look at his previous track record. The Giants, of course, have lost a stellar 7 games in a row, including losing to the Patriots last game, but they had covered their previous 3 in a row. Craig, both these teams have lost 7 and 8 in a row. The good news is one of them has to win theoretically, unless they tie, which of course could happen too. Who do you like?
I like the home team here, the Giants. It looks like, I'm not saying they quit, but it kind of looks like after the Commanders had that primetime game where they gave it all, lost in overtime, and then last week were flat. And obviously Daniels went out with injury again last game. I mean, if I'm that team, there's no way I'm playing Jan Daniels the rest of the year. I like Dart and company here to get it done. Give me the New York Giants -2.5. Next game, the Raiders at the Eagles, and a lot of people calling the fix was in as the Raiders kick a field goal meaningless with no time on the clock and get a late backdoor cover. That is the backdoor of the backdoorest covers ever. Eagles, of course, tough loss with 5 turnovers from Jalen Hurts last week. Eagles favored by 10.5, total 38.5. What do you like here?
Yeah, I mean, I read an article about this fix being in and all that stuff. I mean, I don't know, man. What I can tell you is that, this team was, and Pete, Pete Carroll addressed the rumors and he was like, look, what do you want me to do? We're just trying to score. Even if we try to score a touchdown, it's not going to be a point because the game's going to be over. So we're just trying to score at that point and try to put some points on the board and give people some confidence. But regardless here, as far as this game is concerned.
That sounds suspicious.
I don't know. That was his reasoning. So
I know. I heard it. I was like, no.
Honestly, I think it's like if you're going to bet on the Denver, screw you guys. I'm just going to screw you for supporting the Broncos. That's all it was. And who bets on the Broncos? Maybe Broncos fans, right?
So I heard that there was a bunch of Bronco fans behind the bench, and they were riding him the whole game. And so he was like, all right, I'm going to show you. I know you guys all bet on your team. That's what I heard.
Yeah, well, that doesn't surprise me at all either. And that's what he said. He's like, I don't have to explain myself. I love it. 2-11 and 8-5 teams hooking up here. And Las Vegas is still under the 4.5 wins for the future, by the way, too, which we thought about, too. We thought the Saints and the Raiders were going to be really bad, and they have been. But they did cover, and that's all Pete Carroll is going for these days. Philadelphia now, Craig, has lost 3 in a row. The defending Super Bowl champs are sitting at 8-5. I'm not saying they're not going to make the playoffs, but if they keep it at this rate, I don't know. But 8-5, losing to the Chargers, the Bears, and Dallas. All 3 teams that are pretty good. Now they get to try to beat up on these Raiders. And, of course, if they end up losing to the Raiders, all hell's going to break loose over here. I think, what do you like? You want me to tell you what I like? I like I think the only way this game is going to go is I think the Raiders are going to leave nothing in the tank, and I think they're going to play pretty good offense. I think after the Eagles had 5 turnovers in their last game, I think they're going to try to score some points effectively too. The Eagles' offense has just been dismal, and therefore I like the over, Craig, over 38.5 in this game. It feels like an obvious play, but I'm going to take the over here. I also think the Eagles probably covered too because they can beat up on somebody, but I'm not going to take that. I'm going to take the over. Craig, the Jets here facing the Jaguars. The Jets are a 3-10 team. The Jaguars are a 9-4 team. Jets, of course, lost the Dolphins 10-34 in their last game, but they have covered 5 in a row prior to that. Jacksonville comes into this game having won 4 in a row, beating the Chargers, Arizona, Tennessee, and routing the Colts, who are now on the Phillip Rivers hunt for a quarterback. The Jets did beat them 32-25 last year. You think the Jags cover the big number?
No. I think you take the Jets again this week. They've been a darling for us bettors, 5-1 the last 6 weeks, including on the road. They've only had 1 against a spread loss on the road. And Jags have Broncos next week, Colts the week after. So they have a lot bigger fish to fry in the future. They just get this win. I think they win by probably dominating fashion, like 7 to 10, but don't cover. And I think we might even get more points if you wait till game time, as I do think we'll probably get, maybe even 12.5. But I like the Jets to cover. Next game, Arizona Cardinals at the Houston Texans. Texans, best defense in football, continue to be just great they're winning despite their offense in some points. Houston's favorite by 10 here, total 42 against an Arizona team that's just 1-9 in their last 10 games straight up. What do you like?
I like Arizona here. I like them coming off the loss in the last game. It was actually the worst loss they've had all year long when you take a look at it. It kind of reminds me of the Niners game because they had lost to the Niners 22-41 and they immediately bounced back in their next game. It sort of reminds me of that contest, right? They immediately bounced back against the Jaguars the next game, losing just 24-27. You have a Houston team that's won 5 in a row, big win against the Chiefs, but they don't typically cover big numbers. The most amount of points Houston has scored in their last 4 weeks is 23, right? 23, 20, 20, and 16. Arizona comes off their worst loss of the year. They were down 34-10 at the end of the third quarter. Ugly loss. I think they're going to put up a great effort this week, and but I think they're still going to fall short. But I like them coming off a horrible loss. I like Houston having a big letdown. Give me the points here. I'm going to take Arizona plus the 10. Craig, the Bills are a -1 chalk against New England. Total disrespect to New England, seems like, right? Bills are 9-4. New England is 11-2. Of course, the Patriots won 23-20 early this year. Do the Bills get their revenge? I will tell you that the Bills here, back-to-back big win against the Bengals and the Steelers after that disappointing loss to these very Texans. New England, of course, has won at least 10 in a row at this point. They're 11-2. Who do you like?
The side really worries me in this game because obviously there's a revenge for Buffalo, but Buffalo defense has not been great this year. I mean, the Bengals carved them up. If Joe Burrow doesn't throw the pick six and then the turnover, a tough, next play, next possession, they get back-to-back turnovers. The Bengals would have won that game. And the Bengals did whatever they wanted on offense. I think it's a tough spot. I think you take the over in this spot. I think both these teams' offenses are going to score. I like New England's defense a little better, so I would probably lean towards New England as a home dog here. But with the revenge, I'm going to stay away from it. I'm just going to take the over, as I don't think the Bills can stop anybody. They're just going to have to outscore people, which they're actually pretty good at as well. Next game, Detroit Lions at the LA Rams. Really big game for Detroit. If they win this game, I think Detroit probably they're going to find their way into the playoffs. If they lose this game, all of a sudden, they're going to have to scramble the last few weeks of the year. Rams favored by 5.5, total 55. What do you like here?
Detroit won 26-20 last year, so the Rams certainly remember that. In fact, the Lions ended up sweeping them in 2024. Detroit coming off a huge win against Dallas, 44-30 on December the 4th. The Rams coming off their own huge win, 45-17 against Arizona. All these rumors that our boy McVay was going to retire did not transpire. And I think what happens here is that I don't trust the Lions off of success. They have not won back-to-back games, Craig, since September 28th, October 5th. I like the Rams off the double revenge, and I think it makes sense here. I'm taking the Rams minus the 5.5. Craig, Carolina here on the road against New Orleans. Carolina only a minus 2.5 point favorite. I know that sounds crazy. But Carolina coming off that huge win against the Rams and then total disrespect. What many feel like is the best team in the league, they beat them on the road by 3, only to turn around and to be a 2.5 point favorite. Kind of a slap on the face line here against the Saints, who, by the way, have covered 3 of their last 4, including 24-20 outright win against Tampa Bay. Do the Saints really beat the Panthers? And note that the Saints have already beaten them once this year, 17-7. Who do you like?
Yeah, Carolina off a bye, too. I think they needed that a little bit. Obviously, like you said, it's a big win against the Rams. If they came back the next week, it would have been hard to get up for that and probably a big letdown spot. Now you get a week off. You've came down from that. I think they take care of business here. New Orleans, I think, shot their wad last week. Great win. But this, I just don't think Carolina's going to pass it by. Plus, Carolina probably is going to need to probably can only afford one more loss if they want to guarantee they're going to get into the playoffs. And it definitely, you can't have a letdown here if you want to get in. I think they play motivated and they avoid turnovers. That's the big thing. If Carolina doesn't turn the ball over, they have a chance to win pretty much every game. I think they do that this week. Give me Carolina minus the points. Next game, Tennessee Titans after the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers favored by 13. Titans won at Cleveland last week. Slow your roll, Titans. Titans, you're not that good. That's what the NFL says with this line. What do you like here?
These two teams haven't met since 2021. I was very curious to see what the game came out as, and I expected it to be at 44. It was 44.5. What I'll tell you is that, after the Titans scored 31 points against Cleveland and 24 points against Seattle, I like the over here in this game. I think they'll just be a good active dog. I don't think this Niners defense is going to be as effective as they were the last 2 weeks against Carolina and Cleveland. I think the Titans, the one thing the Titans can do, Craig, is the Titans can run the ball. They rushed for 184 yards in their last game against Cleveland. Prior to that, if you go back and look at the Jacksonville game, they actually rushed for almost 70 yards against Jacksonville as well. I'm back in the over. I think they can be an active dog. The Niners come off, They put up 41 points against Arizona, and I think they'll be able to score some points against Tennessee after some tough defenses against Carolina and Cleveland. I think both these teams are motivated to put up some points. Give me the over here. All right, Craig, Green Bay here on the road against Denver. Green Bay, of course, coming off a monster win, winning their last 4. They're 9-3. They're getting a lot of respect here. Denver, of course, big wins against, they've won over 10, at least 10 in a row here coming in, and yet they are the ones that are the underdog here. Complete lack of disrespect as far as the line is concerned. Denver did beat them 2 years ago, 19-17. But I can see the disrespect. Denver did beat Houston, but that's the only above 500 team outside of the Eagles. So they've only beaten 2 above 500 teams out of the last 10, whereas these Packers beat the Bears, beat the Lions of late. Who do you like here?
Really tough spot for Green Bay, though. I mean, they have had a brutal schedule here that they've, leading up to this the last few weeks. And you look at their schedule, it's because the division is so good. Whereas we thought the division in the West was going to be great, but ended up with the Chiefs struggling and the Raiders so bad, it's been a little easier for the Denver Broncos. I think you have to buy the half a point. You take Denver +3. I think this screams field goal, game one or the other. And playing at Mile High is no joke. Parsons, he's not going to be able to play the whole game like he's been with all those pass rushes. Eventually, he'll wear out, especially for the road teams. I think it always wears them down late. I like Denver plus the three here. I'm going to buy that half a point.
How's it? Sign up for our free $60 of the premium selections, which is docsports.com/ICCT. You get free $60 of the premium selections so you can try us out. It's the best way to kind of thank us for all the hard work that we do, along with liking and subscribing and joining on YouTube Premium.
Next game, Indianapolis Colts. Tough way to go when you have to go to Phillip Rivers as an emergency potential option this week after the injury to Daniel Jones out for the year. Seattle, great story there, 10-3 on the year, of course. Seattle's favored by 13.5 in Seattle here, total 42.5. What do you like?
Yeah, tough situation for the Colts. Just bad luck. 8-5. Colts, of course, fell short to the Jaguars 19-36 and lost to Houston 16-20. Kansas City lost to Kansas City 2023. You've heard from me from day one. One of the most important positions on the team is the medical staff. Who is your key medical trainer? If you can't get your guys on the field and you pay them all this money, it's utterly useless. And those guys with all the preventive care that they do. I mean, look at the Lakers. Their injuries are fantastic this year. They bring them in. Their guys aren't being – and J.J. Redick understands how important a good medical staff is. Look at the Smoothie Kings over in New Orleans Pelicans. None of them actually play. It's still a Division III team that plays for them. So, you have a Colts here who have lost 3 in a row, 1936, 16-20 in 2023. Can they be effective? I can tell you the Seahawks have the Rams next week. That's a really important game for them. They just come off a big win against my Falcons, 37-9, which is a homecoming for Coach McDonald, beating Minnesota 26-0 as well, beating Tennessee 30-24. Seattle's covered 7 of their last 8. I can tell you most people do not want to play Seattle right now. Well, I'll tell you this, though, Craig, is no one is expecting much from the Colts this week. I just think Seattle has a big game against the Rams, and I think they're going to be looking ahead. I'm actually going to back the Colts here and the dysfunction. Give me the Colts. Minnesota and Dallas here is a 5.5-point dog here, Craig, on Sunday night. Minnesota comes off. I think you pointed this out to me. It was the first time ever where a team gets shut out 0-26 by the Seahawks, only to shut out the next team the following week by a score of 31-0 in Washington. It's a game that's wild. Minnesota, you had Daniels that actually played that game, 9 for 20 for 78 yards. McCarthy went 16 for 23, 163 and 3 touchdowns. Not bad at all. Dallas coming in this game losing 30-44 against Detroit. Dallas is still 6-6-1. They are in the hunt. They had beaten Vegas, Philadelphia, and Kansas City, and then turn around and lose to Detroit in a game where Detroit had to outscore them 17-11 in the fourth quarter. Who do you like, Craig, in this game? Do you think that Minnesota can shock everybody and sneak inside the +5.5, or do you think Dallas bounces back?
I think Dallas shot their wad the last few weeks, and that was a disappointing loss last week. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb went out. I think if CeeDee Lamb doesn't go out, they probably come back and win that game. That was just – he was playing great, and they didn't really have an answer for him. I doubt he plays this week, and I think Minnesota is playing with house money a little bit here. They're just like, hey, let's finish strong. Let's see what we have in McCarthy. McCarthy looked a little better last week. And I just thought Dallas, they figured it out for a few weeks, but then the tape got out there on this defense, on their adjustments, and it didn't go well last week against the Lions. I think Minnesota will use similar game plan. Give me Minnesota +5.5 here to finish us up on Sunday Night Football. Don't forget, if you want to get on all of our top plays, use that get that 2-for-1 football plays. So DocSports.com/Craig Arun, just $99. You'll get both of our plays. I will have a play in Army Navy, and then some plays in NFL. I know IC will have, so we'll probably end up with 6, 7, 8 plays this week. So you get in on that.
I'll have 5 plays.
Yeah, so you end up with that. Everything we give out in football here at DocSports.com.
Craig, let me get this plug in. College basketball up plus 7,000, NBA plus 4,000. I'm trying for plus 10,000 in both sports. YouTube Premium is my pride and joy. It's an extra video every single day. It is my teaching channel. Join my teaching channel, get smarter, and join us for hockey as well as we try to win in all the sports this year.
Oh, right here is the link. Sorry. If you want in on YouTube, any of the YouTube levels, click the link in the description. Right here's the description to it. Sorry. All right, guys, have a great day. See you again next time.